All right, good morning. So we are going to start lying down with our shoulders on the block, Supta Baddha Konasana. So just slide, roll, walk, slither over to your mat, getting the block. So taking your time, you need to do a little sitting Baddha Konasana first. And also remembering that sitting in or having the legs in this butterfly Baddha Konasana position is not necessary, nor is it even necessary to be lying on that block there. You can be lying flat. All right, so in some way, we are opening up the front of the body, and most of our body is fairly well supported. Inhale and exhale so we can feel some kind of letting go, some kind of surrendering into gravity. Letting the inhale and exhale ease you a little deeper into whatever shape you're in. Bring you a little bit more into your body, into this moment. Breathing into accepting yourself as you are at this moment. But with every breath, it's a different moment. So it doesn't mean by accepting ourselves as we are, accepting what is in this moment, that it's not going to change. Just means this is where we are now. And then this is where we are now. As we're here now, maybe we can feel some echoes of the past, a little calling from the future, but still, we're just here now. And taking any little stretching around with the arms that you want to do. And we'll take a couple more breaths here. And let's slide the legs out straight. And we'll make our way up off the block, but then going back down to the floor, back onto our back. And let's stretch those legs out straight again for a moment, taking the stretch overhead with the arms. Oh. And then we'll take those arms out wide to the side, a big letter T. We'll reach through the fingertips We'll press down with the back of the hands into the floor. Feeling how that sort of lifts the chest and tucks shoulder blades in a little. And then letting go of that effort in the arms, and let's bend the knees, and we're going to drop the knees to the side. Let's go over to the left side. Take a deep breath or two here. And then rolling through the center, really feeling the rolling through the center over to the right. So that transition is just as interesting and important as we roll through the center over to the left as being in the shape we're dropping our knees into. And to the right. So as always, going on your own timing. And we'll do approximately once more on each side, though that's following my timing. So you just make sure you finish left and right for yourself. And then we'll all meet up with the legs over to the left. Oh. All right, and here we are, legs to the left. Let's reach a little more actively out through the right arm. Bring it up overhead and let it swirl around, rolling you onto the left side, coming up and sliding your right leg up. So you come up in a running deer or sitting four or all the other things it's called. All right, so here we are. And just sort of noticing kind of where's the front. You might be facing a little bit of a diagonal on the mat. Coming forward, whatever seems like forward to you, kind of over that left shin. A couple more breaths here. And then coming up, and then we'll bring the knees up and we come into a giant bug position with our feet wide on the mat, bringing the arms inside, pulling yourself forward and up, sitting happy baby. Maybe letting yourself lean back a little more, sliding your hands up the shins if it feels good. Wow. And then let's come up in the floating lotus, bringing the hands underneath the thighs. So maybe you're just going to balance on the sitting bones with the toes on the floor. Or maybe those shins can come up parallel to the floor. If you want to let go of your legs, go ahead. But let's do it supported the first time, as we do our best to feel like we're floating. And then letting those shins come down, feet come down to the floor. We roll ourselves back down to the floor onto our back, bring the legs together, arms out to the side. Take a moment here, do the press down with the backs of the hands, reaching long. And then let's do that again, starting with the right side. So we'll take about 3 sets side to side, but we'll go a little faster this time. Over to the right, through the center, over to the left. So you're always free to do 1 or 2 sets slower. And right, through the center, left. 1 more side to side, right and left. And then we'll drop those knees over to the right and we'll all meet up there for a few breaths. And then reaching out through the left arm, swooping it up overhead, maybe like me, you're gathering up your blocks. Rolling on to the right side, coming up that left leg slides open. Here we are, running deer with our right leg in front or other leg. And so seeing where is your front, and then coming forward and over there. Inhale and exhale. Coming up, unfurling the spine, bringing the knees up into the giant bug. Reaching inside, giving yourself a pull forward. Deepening into those hip joints. And then we'll floating lotus again. You can do the hands behind the legs again, or maybe just taking the shape with the feet still on the floor. Maybe trying hands on the floor, or maybe floating the arms up as well. And for all the effort you're making, try to find some part of you flowing up, floating up. One more breath. And then we'll set the feet down, let the legs slide out into a konasana, the straddle the angle pose. Nice big opening up, lifting up and over, coming forward. Breathing into the center of the body and out. Inhale and exhale. Here we are now. And coming up, and let's go to Sukhasana with the crossed legs. Here we are. Back into familiar territory, using the arms alongside, lengthening up. Feeling space coming between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets, whatever little squinging you want to do. All right, and let's reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, feeling where your body is now as we breathe the arms up. And breathe the arms down. And once more like that. And then we will change the legs. And coming forward and over, breathing wide across the back of the body. Then coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale, arriving in this moment. And let's come up and downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. All right, walking the dog and anything else you want to do. And we'll finish with that dog walking here in the best downward facing dog of this moment. And let's just lift our right leg up, doing three-legged dog. Let's bend the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. Kind of like doing that running deer up there in the air. And we'll just set our right leg down. So come down for a moment if your wrists need a break, and then we'll just do that on the left. Reaching long through the left leg. Three-legged dog as a pose, all on its own, not as a transition to somewhere. And dog at the high fire hydrant. And then we'll set that left leg down. And coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And let's slide forward onto our stomach into the Sphinx. Fully back with the sides, flattening out the front of the body. Maybe there's a little more lift in the elbows. And we will come down onto the floor. We'll do the giant bug cobra. So hands out across from the shoulders, wide on the mat, or maybe even on the floor, reaching the elbows out. It can be on the flat hands or the pads of the fingers, spider fingers, as we ripple ourselves up, fully wide with the elbows reaching forward with the collarbones. So as you ripple up, you might not actually feel that much of a genuine sort of cat little ripple in that upper back, but just thinking that that's what's happening. And we'll do this once or twice more. And finishing with that, just coming down, taking a few breaths with your chin or forehead on the hands. And we will peel ourselves up. Little cat cow ripple, downward facing dog. And going through whatever version of the vinyasa you might want to do at this moment. Remember, it doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's a little micro chaturanga because that's where you have some control. All right, and then we're downward facing dog. And we'll lift the right leg up, reaching long through the heel. Bend the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. Big inhale and exhale through to the lunge, swinging through or stepping down and stepping through. Taking a few breaths in our long, low lunge. And then we'll ease that left knee down to the floor, coming up in Jayasana, the kneeling lunge. Let's do a side bend here, bringing the arms down, maybe getting a block for your right hand, coming over to the right toward the front leg. Big reach around with that left arm, coming back up into the lunge, and we will step forward into the concave back, folding over. Couple breaths here. And then coming all the way up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. Circling the shoulders to interlock the fingers behind. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. Lift a little more, coming forward and over. And we'll release the hands. Concave back, folding over, and then jumping or stepping back through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. All right, and then we'll do that with the left, lifting the left leg up. Bend the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. Big inhale and exhale through to the lunge. And then there we are in our long, low lunge for a few breaths. And I didn't say it before, but I think we know if you felt like being more energetic, you could come up in a high lunge for a couple breaths here. And then we'll ease that right knee down into the floor. And coming up in Jayasana. And bringing the arms down, we'll side bend to the left, maybe getting your block here, using the height block that's useful for you. And here we are. And bringing that right arm around. And then we will step forward into the concave back, folding over. Deep breath. Coming up to standing. Big front body yawn. And pressing the hands down long through the top of the head. Let's circle the shoulders to interlock the fingers, lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin, and coming forward and over. And release the hands. And concave back, folding over, jumping or stepping back through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And then here we are in our downward facing dog, taking 3 deep breaths. And coming down, steady back in child's pose. So in this next section, we're going to end up doing a 360-degree circle around the mat. So we'll be facing the back of the mat, we'll be facing the right side and the left side, and we'll hopefully, as long as I say right and left correctly, we'll end up back around to the front. That's the theory. Anyway, so let's make our way back up to downward facing dog. And then we will look between the hands and jump or step forward. Into the concave back, folding over. Deep breath, bending the knees, coming down, sitting into Baddha Konasana at the front of the mat. Holding on to the ankles or shins, and then taking a lift up and back. And then coming forward with the upper chest, and see if you can ripple back, contract and ripple back. So for some of us whose hips are a little tighter in this position, this may be rather challenging, but doing what you can, rippling what will ripple. Others of you, you may not see why I'm making any big deal about it. It's just wonderful and all good. Well, it's always all good when we're in yoga class. All right, and then we'll finish with that rippliness and sliding the legs out straight. And let us bring ourselves back down to the floor. And the arms back out wide to the side and bend the knees. All right, so we're going to do that same swirling up sort of a thing we did. So let's do it though with our legs up in the air, the right angle, or you could have straight legs. And we'll do, let's see, we'll just do left and right, and then we'll go left and set the legs on the floor. So taking the legs over to the left, hovering above the floor, coming back to the center. Legs over to the right, hovering above the floor, and back to the center. And then we'll go over to the left and hover a moment, and then very gently setting those legs down on the floor. Really reach with the right knee, pulling back through the right arm. And we'll stretch that right arm up overhead along the floor, swirling around to roll onto our left side, sliding the right leg out, coming up into that running deer with our left leg in front. And this time we're going to take a twist to the right, to the left, toward the front leg. And for the first couple breaths, try to make that twist very vertical, pulling it back in and up. And then we'll let it swirl around just a little, putting your hands a little bit wide. And we'll do a ripple kind of like that giant bug ripple. letting yourself come down, let the elbows wing out wherever they want, and then a ripple and push up. And we'll do that about 4 more times. Trying to find some place where something like this works for you here. And then we will finish with that. And roll away. Oh, going to. Oh no, my brain just went blank. We're going to come up. And we're going to come to the center. Thing. We'll come to the center and we'll do that floaty lotus. Float a little more, and we'll set the feet down, and we'll drop the knees to the right, and we'll just keep going around to the right and turn ourselves around and up and into downward facing dog, facing the back of the mat. Okay, whew, we made it to where I wanted to go. And here we are, going through whatever version of the vinyasa you want to do here. You can get really creative, put a little knee bend in there if you want. And then here we are, downward facing dog, facing the back of the mat. And we'll lift our right leg up. Bend the knee dog at the high fire hydrants. Big inhale and exhale through to the lunge. So we have our right leg in front, coming up into the warrior number 2. Virabhadrasana number 2 on the right, in theory facing the back of the mat. Breathing. Here I am now. And then dancing warrior, right arm up and away. And we'll windmill down and coming to the wide leg forward bend, Prasarita Padottanasana. Deep breath. And then let's lengthen out on tippy fingers and we'll twist to the left, which should be the front of the mat. And to the right, which is the back. And to the center, turning to the left lunge at the front of the mat, and we'll come into the pigeon. Walking the left foot across, bringing the left knee down. And here we are, taking a few breaths in the high pigeon. And coming forward and over. And a couple more breaths here. And no. And let's retrieve our left leg and slide it behind us, coming down into the Sphinx. Pulling with the elbows, getting long and flat. And then bringing the legs really right together behind you, squeezing them together. And we'll bend the knees, bridge posing into the floor. And then let's bow pose. So really try to keep the thighs together, even if you can't get off the floor here. For the moment, just stay with those thighs together, like squeezing them together or maybe block distance apart. See how much can you lift there. And then we're going to very deliberately pull them wide, pulling the knees out toward the edges of the mat, maybe even wider than you usually do. And then setting those thighs and knees down wide, setting the shins down. You feel like you can scoot the feet a little wider back there, go ahead. And then bringing the hands in near the ribs somewhere. We'll come up in a cobra here with extra wide legs. And coming down, gathering your legs back in as we make our way back up to downward facing dog. Couple cat and cow ripples. And then there we will be. All right, we made it around. I'm not 100% sure my brain is going to make it around the second time, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to stay facing this way just so we have the same front and backness. Even though I'll be facing away from you on the warrior too. All right, so there's our left leg. No, there's not our left leg. We're looking between the hands to jump a step forward. Into the concave back. Folding over. Bending the knees. Sitting down onto the floor. Into Baddha Konasana. Lifting up and back. Taking a few ripples here. And then we will finish with this rippling, sliding the legs out to straight, rolling yourself down to the floor. And then we'll bend the knees. And reaching those arms out wide to the side. And this time we'll do the knee drop with the legs hinged up. So we'll go right, left, and then right to sit gently on the floor. Legs over to the right, hovering above the floor. And center. Over to the left, hovering above the floor. And center. Over to the right. And then gently setting the legs down on the floor. Taking a few breaths, deepening into this nice easeful stretch, reaching through the left knee, reaching back through the left arm. All right, now the left arm's going to reach along the floor, up overhead, rolling yourself onto your right side. Left leg slides back. We come up in the running deer with our right leg in front. All right. And let's twist to the right toward the front leg. So try to not let yourself go out and over yet. Pulling yourself more vertically in and up for a few breaths. And then we'll take a sort of a half swirl down and around, little space between the arms, and we'll do our best to do kind of a giant bug ripple as we bend the elbows and lower down and ripple up. So we'll do that about 4 more times. And then finishing with that. And we'll come back up and around into the giant bug and into that floating lotus. Hands on the floor, hands behind the thighs, wherever you need them, maybe feet on the floor, or maybe the palms up in the Jian Mudra, floating up. And then we'll set the feet down, let the knees fall to the left, take you all the way around to downward facing dog, facing the back of the room. And going through whatever vinyasa you want. If you want to come with me, let's see, I think I'll knees, chest, chin this time. Coming to the plank and all fours. And then we will all be back in downward facing dog. And lifting the left leg up. Bend the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. Big inhale and exhale through to the lunge. So we should have our left leg in front facing the back of the mat. And then we come up in the warrior number 2 on the left. Inhale and exhale, breathing here. Here now at this moment. And I'm here now at this moment, which is different and might be noticeably different than a few moments ago. And we'll dancing warrior, left arm up and away. And a big windmill down to the wide leg forward bend facing alongside Prasarita. Padottanasana. And let's take a twist to the right, which is now the front of the mat. Big inhale and exhale, twisting to the left. And to the center. And then turning to our right lunge at the front of the mat. And we'll bring that left knee down, coming into the pigeon on the right. All right. Here we are, taking a few breaths in the high pigeon. Inhale up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And then coming forward and over, sleeping pigeon. And coming up, we will retrieve that leg. Ah. Oh, coming onto our stomach, there we go. Brain engages into the Sphinx. We'll do that same wide into the bow pose again. So start really narrow, legs right behind you, squeeze together, maybe a little bit apart as we bend the knees. And getting hold of the ankles, or not, however you need to adapt this for yourself. And then we lengthen to lift, maybe noticing there's not a lot of lift if you really squeeze those legs together. And then we'll let them come wider and wider and wider, noticing how that changes how things feel. And then we'll set those thighs down at the wider and bring the shins down. Maybe walk the feet out a little bit more. And then one more thing here is the painful thing is we reach the arms out to diagonals too. So we're kind of a big X, and we're going to lift up off the floor in the parachuter. Oh, I didn't lift up off the floor hardly at all. Well, whatever you can do here. Like a splayed out Salavasana. And coming down. Ah. And let us heal ourselves up onto all fours. Taking a few cats and cows. And then considering how you are feeling now. So I'm going to squeeze in a couple of warrior ones. Maybe you do not feel like doing the warrior one. You've had enough. So you could do a low lunge with the hands on the floor or any other thing you wanted. Meanwhile, those of us who are going to keep on going with me, we come up in the downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. Let's lift our right leg up. Bend the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. Coming up in the warrior number one. Ah. See if you can feel the flowing circles of this up the front, down the back. And let's take a twist to the right. So in the warrior one, it's sometimes awkward to twist like this as we reach forward with one hand and back with the other. And then from here, we're going into the swirl. So now we're doing the swirl with the upper half of our body rather than the hips like we did before. Left arm comes up, right hand goes to the back of the left leg. And you twist and side bend and back bend around. And bringing the right hand up to meet the left. Namaste in front. Namaste into the floor. Stepping back up to downward facing dog. And let's lift our left leg up. Bend the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. Coming up in the warrior one on the left. So seeing if you can sort of change the quality of your warrior one here to what you need. I know, maybe you want to be very strong and energetic here. Or maybe going more for that circular flow. Inhale and exhale. Twisting to the left, arms parallel to the floor. And then right arm up, left arm down into the swirl. Whatever amount of side bending, back bending, and twisting there is. And then whatever amount is available on the body on the outside, there is still infinite swirling available inside. And then we'll bring the left hand up to meet the right. Namaste in front. Namaste into the floor. Stepping back to downward facing dog. If you want to go through another vinyasa here, go ahead. And we will do another pigeon. So if you are ready to lie down, you can do the figure 4 lying down instead. And so let's do our low road to the pigeon. So if you still feel like lifting the leg and flying, go ahead. All right, you bring the right leg forward and into the pigeon, or maybe the reclining figure 4. Taking a few breaths in the high pigeon. Coming forward and over. And coming up, and we will switch sides. Put the left leg forward. And stay a few breaths in the high pigeon. And coming forward and over, sleeping pigeon. And coming up and into Shavasana. Letting go of all effort. And just resting into the floor. Inhale and exhale. As we continue to breathe here, maybe feeling a few moments of where you're not even really in the moment anymore. Going in a little bit deeper, a little further. Letting go a little bit more. And then breathing back into your body, into the room, moving the fingers and toes, getting the circulation going, stretching the arms up overhead, bending the knees, and making our way up to sitting, and sitting in any comfortable position. Taking a few more moments sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.